My restart project is back in KvK Season 2. In fact, we just entered a couple days ago. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all the things that are just very, very different from the Season of Conquest. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and man, I've got some crazy KvKs going on all at once. My main is in a huge KvK, Strife of the 8, and my restart has just entered KvK Season 2. And there's a lot of things I noticed that I wanted to talk about that were just so different. And sure, if you're just kind of coming up in the ranks, you just finished KvK Season 1, you haven't migrated back to KvK Season 2, then you're familiar with these sorts of things, like the fact that Barb forts are only level 4 and 5, or that barbarians only go to level 30 at the start of this, instead of starting at much higher levels. But for players that are migrating back, I thought it might be helpful to cover some of these differences so that you know how to be prepared. And one of the things that I noticed right away is that there is a new bundle, a new event that's sort of taking place where, I guess it's not a bundle. It's like a recharge rewards event, but it's called Bounty of the Ancients. Now, there was something like this on my main account in the Season of Conquest, and this is the non-Season of Conquest variant. Bounty of the Ancients Season 2 gives you an opportunity to pick up a whole bunch of legendary materials and commander sculptures, and all you need to do is, well, spend on things you probably would have been spending on anyways, if you are a spender. And that's a big if, because I am probably not going to buy my way through these rewards on my restart project, which is a little bit weird. I just did recharge rewards. I do that periodically when I want to up my 30-day gem supply. I already did that. So do I plan to purchase up to 25,000 more raw gems? I mean, here at the 12,000 gem tier, 3 legendary commander sculptures, 5 blueprint choice chests for helmet, a bunch of speed ups, 30 hours plus, also training speeds in there, a lot of them. I don't know, man. 6 legendary materials is pretty good. 10 blueprint fragment choice chests. I mean, I just haven't decided, but the good news is that I have 10 days, I guess a little bit more than 10 days, to figure out if this is what I want to be doing. I really don't know. Of course, the Mighty Conqueror bundle is here, and if you're newer to the game, these gold keys are actually pretty good. I mean, I am going to be using some commanders on this account that I really need to dust off. Commanders that you can get from gold keys, like Charles Martel, maybe Mehmed. I mean, I could theoretically be bringing El Cid into the mix. I mean, these legendary commanders in the earlier seasons of KvK. Hey, speak of the devil, let's go. These earlier commanders in KvK actually have a lot more value, and I am 100% going to have to rip open all these gold keys to see, ooh, full Milan. Dude, this is actually going really well. This was not going to be a gold key opening video, and yet, dude, that 5 more Mehmed, oh my goodness. Okay, well, I mean, anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand, shall we? The KvK Season 2. Now, in terms, Charles Martel, I really needed that. So you get the idea here. Okay, those are the bundles that seem new. As far as the achievements go, there are some events right at the start with War of Conquest. This is where you get rewards for doing resource gathering, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal, except you get individual honor points. So if you're going to do any kind of an honor push, then certainly you're going to gather the requisite amount of resources just to get to the highest tier of this. But there is a rank reward as well, which unfortunately isn't giving all that much. Gems and epic commander sculptures. You see, I was going to tell you that if what you really wanted to do was to help your kingdom, I guess, do really well. I guess it's alliance-based. If you wanted to help your alliance do really well, you would have your gatherers out and about for like a day or some amount of time leading up to KvK, and then have them all return right when you enter KvK, and you get credit for all those resources. But I think you should be doing all the Barb forts anyways, the Marauder forts especially, leading up to KvK, not that. So there's the past glory. You do get these honor tokens. Those show up in your inventory, and you probably want to pop those. If you're doing an honor push, you could save them for the end to have surprise burst of honor. I'm just going to pop them now. I get my honor points, GG easy, which is going to give me some Crusader achievements. And this seems like a fine time to walk through some of the Crusader achievements, which, yes, you can see getting honor is definitely helpful here. At the individual level, I think the thing I'll call out is there's some nice rewards for doing a lot of barbs, crystal key, epic material crate. Participating in alliance building always is remarkably rewarding for what it is. Individual honor gives decent rewards. 80,000 honor is 10 gold heads. Yes, that seems really good. If you get to 2.5 million Sev wounds, you pull down 10 gold heads if you also have 90,000 honor. For individual achievements, those seem pretty good. I mean, especially if you migrate back, this feels extremely achievable. That is a really great marker there. 2.5 million kills is very doable. And then 90,000 honor is probably the harder part. But if you grind your honor, that is a reward I feel like you would not want to miss. Now, as far as the alliance rewards, you've got to get your individual honor, and the alliance needs to have a bunch of honor points. You start getting gold heads when it's 2,250,000 alliance honor. I feel like that's going to be very achievable. We're just a few days in, I feel like. And we've already got 230,000. So that should be very, very achievable. The next really important tier, ooh, yeah, that's really good. If you pull down 4 million Sev wounds, which as a player who's migrating back feels very achievable, 7 gold heads and 1 legendary choice chest is really good. And that also requires a lot of alliance honor, but that seems very doable. Very nice. Then there's the rewards for occupying circles and the Zig. And the Zig, one-time occupation, gives 5 crystal keys, 2,000 gems. But if you own it at the end, you get a star on your banner, which is pretty nice. And you also get Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian. You know, she definitely has some relevance in the Season of Conquest, but is not really like the commander that you really like must have. So if you get her, great. If you don't, it's really probably going to be fine. And you can get her other ways, like from Card King later on. So it's really not the end of the world like it used to be when she first came out. And it was just such a big deal to get her. Also, owning other Crusader fortresses of enemy camps is a way that you can go get more sculptures of Mulan, which is all stuff that we're familiar with. 5 RCFs seems like, that just seems really impossible. I think I might have just said Crusader camps. I meant Crusader forts. Anyways, if we go to the kingdom achievements, these are usually not terribly remarkable, right? Like, well, except for owning the Zig at the end. Wow. If your kingdom owns the Zig at the end of the event, and you got 3 million kills, you get 5 legendary commander sculptures, a legendary, an epic, and a blue material crate. That actually is better than I remember it, although it's probably the same. There's also a kingdom-wide reward for owning an RCF of another kingdom. That's 1 legendary material crate. That's actually kind of nice. These rewards are a little more juicy than I remembered, although, oh god, if your kingdom owns 5, yeah, that's insane. That's insane. More gold sculptures and a material crate and an epic, legendary and epic crates. That's pretty good stuff. So just looking back at the War of Conquest, there is past glory that's going to happen all over again. This is where when you take the RCF, you're going to go in and do several days of donating resources and then battling barbs and forts and then turning in the sculptures you don't need for a whole bunch of currency that you turn into legendary commander sculptures and other good stuff. As far as honor roll rewards, I'm so used to just getting a coin, but in this season of KvK, you actually can get the Persian Dream and 60 legendary commander sculptures if you're number 1 for honor. Just keep in mind, somebody will almost certainly have migrated back with just a stupid amount of AP, and they will probably be getting that reward. And I believe it's the top 20 who will end up with that highest tier reward. The alliance rewards, I mean, the only noteworthy thing here is if you get number 1, you get a plaque, which like, I mean, cosmetics are cool and all, but not the end of the world one way or another. And the kingdom rewards look about the same for what I'm totally used to here in this season of Conquest. That looks about the same. Now, something that's a little bit different that I'm still trying to figure out. This is a little weird, right? Here is your troop return. Troop return is a very new thing for season 2 of KvK. I mean, when I did season 2 of KvK, you lost 100% of your troops. They were just gone. All of them were just gone. So it looks like your base troop return ratio is 30%. So there will be some number of dead troops over here, and then there'll be the 30% return ratio, and you get back that 30%. There's also extra troops returned. I've heard that there are bundles that might be offered at some point to give you troop return, which I still find really curious. I will definitely cover that when I see it in-game myself. But the returns ratio is 10% for extra troops. So I think in addition to this 30%, I'm going to get another 10% on top of that. And if there are bundles that let me get more troops back, I mean, I'll do the math to see if it's worth it, but it feels like that is likely to be the case. Aha, here it is. In the rules, it says, in addition to the 30% of troops returned, governors can also use troop return scrolls to return an extra 10% of lost troops. Troop return scrolls can be used for yourself or to help an ally from the same alliance. If a governor tries to help another governor with a troop return scroll who leaves the alliance before collecting their troops, then the scrolls will be returned to the original owner via mail. This is weird because in KvK you switch alliances all the time. So I guess at the end of KvK you start scrolling people. Is that how you do that? And then governors that migrate before the season ends cannot recover troops otherwise available through troop return scrolls. But I think you get your base troop return that you would have otherwise gotten. So once we start getting some of these scrolls, I'll show you how that works. This is all very new for me, although I recognize a whole bunch of kingdoms have already gone through this flavor of KvK Season 2. And I think that this troop return is a really good thing. It's a very good thing. It means you get to play the game more. Sure, it also means you kind of need more resources for lots of extended field fighting because people do a lot more field fighting. But in the grand scheme of things, it seems pretty good to me. And then there are some rules here that are all things that we're, I think, very familiar with. When I was doing KvK Season 2 originally, this rule screen didn't exist at all. And gosh bless, man. The restrictions on equipment, the restrictions on commanders, rip my Season of Conquest commanders, rip the, what is it, 360 legendary materials I have tied up in Season of Conquest equipment that I can't use. Sure, why not? Here we are. We're in the bottom right corner. In fact, let me show you the whole map. Here is the locations of the kingdoms. Us and our allies are underlined, so we are in this bottom right corner surrounded by allies. This is a real blessing for me on a personal level because I don't know how I would have been able to fight on this account. I really don't if I was also fighting on my main at the same time. So it looks like I get to dodge that bullet for some amount of the start of KvK, and I believe it's around the 26th or so that the passes will open up in a way that there will be new fighting for me to participate in. So thank goodness for that, because my main account is going to have just an insane amount of stuff to do. And let me pull up the leaderboards real quick. Here is the Alliance Power leaderboard, and I get that I'm filming this on a Sunday, which means maybe some people are moving around for Ark of Osiris, so you can take this with a very slight grain of salt, but I think this is directionally about right. In my kingdom, we have the number 2 alliance by power, and the number 1 alliance by power is in the opposing war camp. So that's kind of cool. We'll definitely have our work cut out for us here. It is also very funny seeing like less than 10 billion power or about 10 billion power being like the top of the leaderboard. I mean, like, meanwhile in Season of Conquest, they're like over 17 billion power. Yikes. Okay. And if we look at alliance kills, we also were number 2 there, which is not bad, actually, in the grand scheme of things. I think that it's very common these days for just a lot of players to have migrated back to re-experience this version of KvK. That's what I did. And I did it mostly to show you all what it's like. And I will say the greatest sigh of relief is that I'm not spending on crystal tech. That actually is really quite nice. Instead, I'm just spending on passports to have migrated back here in the first place. But, you know, whatever. And then individual powers, just really insane. Look at this. 373 million in KvK Season 2. I mean, look, I've got some feelings about, like, should people be able to migrate back to KvK Season 2? But regardless of what they are, like, you just can't deny that the all-out Rumble Warframe on the Boogeyman with 373 million power is definitely very, very impressive. That's very impressive. Then there's 205, 200 million, 178, 172, 158. I mean, it's just some seriously high-power players. I am exactly 300th, which is kind of funny, at 82 million power. And unfortunately for me, my individual kill ranking is lower than my power ranking, so it's a little embarrassing. I should be doing more fighting. I really only did fighting on this account in one KvK. That was my last KvK where I went pretty heavy in the Season of Conquest. I did a lot of fighting compared to other KvKs where I've really done, I feel like, much less. Okay, and really leading up to that KvK, I was still unlocking my T5 units, so a little bit of give and take there, but I would like to see my kill point ranking be higher than my power ranking. So ideally, I would be higher than rank 300 here. That will be my goal, right? To have accomplished more kills than my ranking by power. That's my ideal situation. But, you know, I'm at where I'm at. The highest on the board is F22 RPTR from Death Army at 4.8 billion kill points, which is really impressive. They're in Kingdom 2322. And the highest kill points from my own kingdom is Jillo's at about 4 billion. So there you go, man. I think this KvK is going to be really hype. And by the way, one more thing that is a real tell that somebody migrated is you just look at the resource gathering. And this is how you know somebody migrated back, you know? If they have really high resource gathering, like this is just something that happens over time. The more you play or the longer you've played, the more potential you have for resources gathered. And if I'm not mistaken, weirdly enough, I think we battled against this player in our last KvK. I think that happened. They were in 235. Am I remembering correctly? Anyways, I mean, 30 billion resources gathered almost is, I think, more than my main. So that's an impressive resource gathering number, to be perfectly honest. Again, super hyped for this KvK. I think it's going to be very fun. KvK Season 2 relived. Subscribe if you want to see me live streaming the fighting. There's going to be a lot of that to do, even though I'm going to be, thankfully, for my main account, getting this zone for free. There will be the big showdown in the Zone 6s and also in Kingsland. It's going to be a lot of fun. You are not going to want to miss it. And if you're looking for more information about KvK Season 2, commanders to use, and other just basic stuff about how this KvK format works, I'll have a card up in the top for my old video, and I say old, but I'll say my original video, where I've covered this, and also a pairing video if you want to see what commanders I plan to pair together for fighting. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.